Hello and welcome back to Anti-Depressing. This is the show where we talk about everything from liturgy
to Lexapro. So happy to be here, you guys. Oh my gosh.
We're back.
Wow.
Lots of fun pop culture news happening here in the year of our Lord 2024. It's happening.
So
2024 is
crazy.
off to a spicy start.
So crazy.
And we're excited to chat with you.
And you may notice that we're not in our regular digs. That's because we had a horrific storm last night, you guys. But we show up here for you guys. So
we show up despite the storm.
Yeah, we show up despite the storm. What is it? What is that? I need to look it up. It's like that corny quote that's like, they whispered, "We're afraid of the storm," and she yelled, "I am the storm." So you guys, we are the storm, and we're so excited to be here with y'all. Not in our regular digs, but here nevertheless. So Jasmine,
we're happy to be here.
How the heck are you doing, dude? What's life like?
I'm doing great. We just got back to Florida from our time away for Christmas, and it was a beautiful time. We're also happy to be back in our house, adjusting back to our normal life, and it's been great. Happy to be back with you. Got to see you. What a gift.
Thank God. My gosh. I mean, I love that your family can be together, and I'm very pro your family. I love them. They're beautiful.
You heard it here first. She's pro families being together.
I'm pro families being together. But when you're gone, it is a lot. And something about Jasmine is she takes extremely long family breaks, which it's almost like the importance of family is too much for her. So when she comes home, it's always a delight. And so it was great seeing her.
It's a joy to be back.
And Feven and the kids. And it's just always a blessing. So I'm happy that y'all are home. Hopefully you guys got to rest.
Besides me coming home, how are you?
Dude, I'm good. I'm ripping and rolling during Christmas break.
Ripping and rolling.
Is that the expression?
I think it's ripping and roaring.
Oh,
which I don't fully understand that either.
I don't know,
but I don't think it's ripping and rolling.
Oh, is ripping
rocking and rolling? Ripping and roaring.
Ripping and roaring. Because doesn't ripping mean like a rip of a drug? You're taking rips.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm afraid to Google it.
Now I'm curious.
If
you know, please
let us
send
know.
us a message.
Drop it in the chat.
We're confused.
Well, I am ripping and roaring. And I am doing well during Christmas break. I took up a hobby, so I have been doing some art. So I've been making clay little figurines.
Yes.
Really entering my elderly era. So been doing that. Been like punch needling, which is like embroidery, but for dummies. But there are actually really cool, complicated punch needles. So let me not offend those people.
You're doing great.
But I'm punch needling. I bought some like pencils so I can draw. Just trying to like make sure I don't brain rot for this year, So
that's a great idea.
And just inspired by people that, are creative and the friends I have that actually do other things and have other thoughts besides work. So I am doing well.
I love that for you. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And so just, excited to have a hobby. Tomorrow's my first pottery class of the year. I signed up for an 8-week.
Fun.
Yeah, I signed up for an 8-week pottery class. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. And tomorrow morning is my starting of my new year of spending time with the girls. Is my
so
1
cute.
month, which would probably just be more than that, but let's just start slow and steady.
Yeah,
is hanging out with the girls every Thursday morning.
So cute. They cannot wait.
Oh, I cannot wait. I remember fondly being little and my mom dropping me off at her friend's house and me hanging out with their kids and hanging out with her like once a week after camp and loving it. And so I'm just so excited to hang out with your kids. And so first on our list is Waffle House tomorrow.
Big plans.
Your eldest, when I asked where she wanted to go, I was like, do you want to go to, and I didn't even finish my sentence. And she was like, Waffle House? So I love that. So
you really instilled that in her.
Yes.
Like the love of Waffle House is so strong.
So
and
I'm
I feel like that's
excited.
your legacy.
I love it. I love it. You know, I love that. So overall, I'm doing well. You guys are back. So honestly, there is like no complaints. I love it. Yes.
Life is good. We're thriving.
Life is good. Life is great.
Oh, well, I do want to hear some anti-depressing Catholic news.
Hit us with it.
Okay, you guys, something crazy is happening. Wait, what?
No, I was just going to say, like, I can't wait to hear your hot take on this because it's been brewing for a long time. So I'm ready.
I know. We've been leading to this.
Yeah.
So Shia LaBeouf is officially Catholic.
Whoa.
He officially did it.
Wow.
Had his RCIA officially in the mix, which honestly, I didn't really know they did always during the Christmas season. Like, isn't that normally Easter Vigil?
Yeah, me either. I was like, I didn't know that.
So it must be an exclusive. I guess when you're a celebrity.
Maybe. I didn't know you could receive the sacrament of confirmation outside of Easter. But yeah, I mean, but I guess it would make sense because like a bishop can administer the sacrament. They can make,
Well,
whenever.
And he's like besties with Bishop Barron now. So, I'm like, I guess like when that's your circumstance, you can kind of do what you want.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It can kind of happen for you. But yes, officially became Catholic. His sponsor was one of the monks that helped like train him for his movie, and all of like the monks were there celebrating with him, which was really beautiful. And he's apparently considering a vocation to the diaconate. Very wild times in Hollywood. And so this leads me to a bigger question. Like the greatest theme lately in anti-depressing Catholic news is celebrities becoming Catholic. Like it's been our news very often. And maybe before we were doing anti-depressing Catholic news, I just wasn't paying attention that close to celebrities becoming Catholic. Or maybe there are a lot more recently. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, well, I have many thoughts, so let me funnel them.
I know.
Number one is we need to watch this Padre Pio movie, like me, you, and your husband or something. Because literally it came out and I was like, oh, I didn't even remember that came out. So I really do want to watch it.
And it's been like a cultural big deal because
it's
of
been
his
a cultural big
conversion
deal
throughout it. But
yeah, so I'm like, I kind of want to watch it. I've heard like mixed reviews
good
about it. And then we could give like an anti-depressing / Stephen Jobert mix review. So
that's true.
So that's my first thought. My second thought is that I don't know what's in the water baptismally, or, you know, what's in the water that's having people convert to Catholicism. I would like to think that the beauty of the faith is just so intriguing that people are like, we're here for this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and there's just like a lot of stuff happening in the world. So I'd like to think that maybe people are like, we just kind of want to, like, we want to seek more, and they're seeing the truth, beauty, and goodness of the church. So, you know, I hope that that's what it is. On the same side of the coin, but on like a different side, if you split it in half, I would say that with all these conversions, as awesome as they are, period, I also think that we need to just have a little bit more chill when people convert. Period. Not even just because they're celebrities, but we're talking about celebrities right now. But like, I think sometimes, obviously, we want to see the beauty of the faith, and it's great on a big platform to see people kind of like receive it and whatever. But I also think that sometimes we can go a little hard, and there is still big levels of discernment that I'm sure Shia has personally, and we know our faith is universal, so there's like a lot. And so just even trying to digest, now you and I are like 30-year-old adults that like, you know, we've had 30 years to like breathe it in. And there's still stuff some days where we're like, oh, I had no idea. And so I just think sometimes we get a little intense, and we need to give people some grace to like figure it out still. So let's just all remember that. So that's just kind of my, you know, so we were laughing the other day at your house and I was like, dude, it's like, I turn on the news and people are like, he was crying at his confirmation. Like sources say he's thinking about being a deacon. I'm like, dude, can this guy discern in peace? Like,
can he breathe?
Like,
yeah, that's so true. It's not like it's someone else who's like discerning potentially being a deacon isn't like getting blasted by like TMZ about it. Like it's kind of crazy to be on that level. And it's, I don't know, it's so hard. I feel like there's a balance because as Catholics, we're like, oh my gosh, people want to be us now.
Yeah,
and we're like
sure.
kind of riding that high because, you know, that's not always the case. And in a lot of situations, it's still not the case.
Which is why we have Anti-Depressing Catholic news.
Which is why, because we're trying to up it up. But things have been pretty up and up in the news lately. And I just think it's, of course, we want these celebrities to speak openly about their faith because it's like a good look for us, right?
For sure.
Like Chris, which of the Chris's?
Pratt.
Thank you. I was like, Chris Evans. Okay. Like one of the Chris's. Chris Pratt just shared on his social media about how he did Bible in the Year with Father Mike Schmitz. Didn't make it all the way, but neither did any of us, right?
Yeah.
But we all tried.
That's
and
true.
So we
That's
loved
real.
that moment of humility. And he was like, you know, talking about how much he loves being able to do that with Father Mike Schmitz and how great that's been. And people are like, oh my gosh, Chris Pratt's next. And let's like just let him live a life of peace, you know? If he wants to listen to Father Mike Schmitz and he's non-denom or whatever he's rocking, then like that's beautiful. If he becomes Catholic, will like the Marvel Cinematic Universe explode? Potentially. Will people be so excited? Of course.
Will there be a burst in the multiverse? There'll be a different thread of Chris's life as a Catholic. Yeah,
there
but
always is.
Sometimes it's kind of like, like I see on Instagram, people are reposting him being like, I listened to Bible in a Year. Like, it's pretty cool. And people reposting and being like, welcome to the family. Welcome. And I'm like, girl, give it.
Like, I'm glad we're being welcoming. And I don't know. Part of me is like, yes, we want them to know, everybody to know that as Catholics, we're welcome. We're hyped to have you here. And we are. We are hype. Shia, welcome. All the other people that we've talked about recently, welcome. We are hyped to have you here. And I think there's, like I was saying, there's like two sides of this. One, we don't want to like make them be in front of a megaphone screaming their faith all the time, even though low-key we're like, yeah, tell people you're Catholic. We need that good, you know, we need that good publicity. It's like a good look for us, you know? But then on the other hand, it's like they are normal people who have lived normal lives, just like the rest of us. And so there's another like side of the coin where some people are like, oh, you know, like the like rapper that turned Christian. I can't remember his before. Oh, Daddy Yankee.
Oh,
I can't remember his post name. But like Daddy Yankee, Shia LaBeouf, like those kind of people. And we have talked about like, oh, it's kind of weird for them to go from living the lives they are to all of a sudden being Catholic and like, or being Christian, converting and like having a megaphone in front of them. Because like for the normal person that's lived a life that, you know, has been sinful, but like has had it in the news and then is like, I'm Catholic. People are like, well, whatever, they did this, this, and this. And it's like, well, so did a lot of us, right? Okay, so we're not all thriving, but we don't all have all of our news in the actual news, you know? And so I just think like celebrities who are coming out and being very open with their faith, it's beautiful and it's a gift. But I like don't envy that journey because how hard must it be to have like some people being like, oh my gosh, thank God you're talking about it. You should be the only one talking about it. Here's a megaphone. Here's a podcast. Here's everything. Like, please, like, talk about it. And then the other side, some people being like, well, you don't deserve to be because you've done this, this, and this. And so I just think they're in a really tough spot and we should just let people like live their faith in peace.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a perfect summation. Like, let people live their faith in peace. Let them discern. Let them repent. Like you and I talk often about how even on Shia's journey, which we've mentioned in previous episodes, like he has done a lot of things that are not wonderful, and wonderful is like a big term for what he has done. So, you know, and he has admitted repentance for it. I think, you know, there are things that he needs to do, apologize to those ladies, et cetera, et cetera. And so when he initially said that he was converting, there was a huge like social media war of people, like you were saying, that were like, oh, this is awesome. Like big celebrity with big platform. And then other people that were like, well, he doesn't need to be our what's the word? Like our speaker.
Yeah, our spokesperson.
Our spokesperson, because he's done this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, okay, oh my gosh. And so,
how about
you know,
neither? How about
neither? How about we give him a break from like we take back the Hallow contract just for like a couple months. We take back the podcast contract. We just kind of give him a little break and let him just like discern in peace. And so, you know, in brief, you guys, God bless everyone that is converting. everyone that, welcome home for real. Welcome home. We're happy to have you. And we hope that you have time to really discern and pray through this new faith journey that you're on. So, and we're happy that you're here. God is really doing something in your heart. Welcome.
We're happy you're here in a low pressured way.
In a low pressure way.
You don't even have to come on the podcast.
You don't even have to. But if you could go on the podcast, and then you
but if you're listening, we're fine with it. But
and then you could say Jasmine and Chanel were a cause for my conversion, and then I'll be a secret source to TMZ that's he was emotional. There was a tear in his eye as he said. Oh my gosh.
But no pressure.
But no pressure.
Oh my gosh, what a time to be alive.
Well,
Are you ready for some dancing?
I am. Let's do it.
Okay.
What? Dude, what is
watching this, some balloons. Have you had that happen on FaceTime?
I have. And I don't know
what is happening.
I don't know.
Whatever tech is happening in the world, that sometimes when you do certain things, thumbs up, does it do it for me? No.
I don't know.
I don't know, randomly. But that kind of scares me. What if you're in a business meeting and balloons come up? We were talking with Juliana the other day, and then just balloons came across her screen. If you're not watching this on video, go watch it, because weird things are happening with Chanel's screen, just balloons and thumbs up. If you're a tech person, tell us how to turn that off.
Tell us how to turn that off, because honestly,
I don't like it.
I don't like it, and it's really crazy how
it doesn't always work.
How it doesn't always work, and it's it's just you guys. I don't know.
It's too much.
Technology.
It's too much for us. So. We can't do it. Anyway. Okay, you ready for some stories?
I am. For our first story, I'm really intrigued by this because, we're going to talk a little bit about the Golden Globes. And
we're going to do it.
And we're going to do it. We're going to jump right in. For anyone that did watch it, it was cringy. It was the most cringy thing I've ever seen in my life. So
it was a very uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable.
Ceremony.
So because of that, and because of how uncomfortable it is, I'm going to pass it off to my better half, who is going to...
Chanel couldn't watch most of the opening monologue because it was very cringy.
It was so horrible. So here we go, Jasmine.
Okay, so in case you have not heard anything about the Golden Globes, Joe Coy was the host. I don't know who that is. So if you know who that is, I didn't honestly Google who he is, because after listening to the whole thing, it doesn't really matter that much to me. I will give him a little bit of an out that from what I've been reading, the Golden Globes has a team, obviously a team of writers, and they wrote a lot of the jokes that he said, and then he just gets hired to come in and say them. He is quoted saying, if the jokes were funny, I made them up. If they weren't, it was the Golden Globes staff. So I don't really know. I feel kind of bad for the writers in the Golden Globes, whatever. But regardless, everything that gets said on these kind of things gets approved from a group of people. And obviously this wasn't great. And then I think back to Chris Rock's whole thing, and was that approved by a group of people? In which case, should he not be held responsible? I think it just gets messy. It gets messy if we go too far into that. Mm-hmm. So regardless, you said it, people approved it, problematic. So a couple of the big ones that people are not impressed about. He was talking about, in his opening monologue, about Barbie and about Oppenheimer, which were both up for movie of the year. Mm-hmm. And he said, Oppenheimer is based on a 721-page Pulitzer Prize winning book about the Manhattan Project. And Barbie is based on a plastic doll with big boobies. Sad. And people were obviously not thrilled about that. They panned to Greta Gerwig, who was the director of the film, and she just kind of nodded and smiled. And people were like, oh, well, she didn't laugh, so that's good. But she didn't stand up. She didn't yell. She didn't make a fuss. She didn't go up and slap him. She didn't do anything crazy, but she just nodded her head. And it looked to me from watching it she expected it. She was not shocked. The whole premise of the Barbie movie, from what you have explained to me, because I've still not watched it, is... We
will. It's on Max.
It's going to happen. Is about this. Is about the world expecting women to be one thing and only talking about them in that narrative. And then he is just reinforcing that and kind of cutting down the message of the entire movie. So those were my kind of thoughts watching it. But what are your thoughts to that now that you're kind of hearing it all?
Now that I'm caught up. I mean, yeah, I agree. I think that like it's sad because it's almost like, is the joke in the room with us? Like, is like, I don't see it. Like, it must have not knocked because it's the whole reason that the movie was made. That's like, it's almost, what's the word? It's almost like, oh gosh, it's like Inception. Like, that's the reason the movie was made. You're telling us the reason. Like, you're expositioning why they wrote this movie. And so it's like,
tell us you didn't get the plot.
Like, tell us you didn't get the plot without telling us. Like, just tell us you didn't watch it. And so it's like, I mean, it's okay. And there are some things about that movie that I'm like not in love with. Right? I didn't think it was like world shifting personally, but I understand that it was very important for it to be made for many people.
And it was meaningful for a lot of people.
And so like, but even to just dilute that into like, oh, this was a movie about plastic dolls with big boobies. It's like, come on, dude. Come on, like, be serious. It's just heartbreaking because for me, when I did see, and this was about the time that I turned it off because I was like, I just like can't even do it. But for me, when I watched like Greta Gerwig and then Margot Robbie, and they're both like, you know, like, okay, it's just heartbreaking because it's like, dude, like, even in fantasy, women can't be respected. Even in fantasy, even in our wildest dreams about movies where we're being respected and we have like positions of power and we're like, even
people can't take it seriously.
People can't take it seriously. So it's just like, you know, what do you guys want from us? So it was just pretty sad. Yeah.
I agree. And there's like, they pan to Selena Gomez because he goes on to say more. He says the key moment in Barbie is when she goes from the perfect beauty to bad breasts, cellulite, and flat feet, or what casting directors call character acting. And when he said that, they like pan to Selena Gomez and she like put her head in her hands and just like looked so distraught. And I just imagine being like a female actress sitting, because these are like the top of female actresses, sitting and listening to him saying this and feeling like all the insecurities that you've had throughout your acting career are just being like put on blast in this moment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, like, God bless, like you said, like people were like, well, Greta didn't laugh, so that's good. I mean, I'm glad that we're kind of at a point where people are like, nah, I'm actually just not even gonna give you like a giggle. I'm not
gonna like laugh along for
I'm not
the
even
sake
gonna
of
laugh
your
along.
joke.
Yeah. And like I saw that they panned to Ryan Gosling and he was just like completely straight faced,
just flat face.
Yeah. Because it's like, we're not even actually, this is just so out of the realm of being even mildly funny that we're not even gonna like engage with it, which I love that we're like at that era where people are
at
like,
that point, like women do not need to laugh just to laugh. We just don't have to. We just don't have to, you know. We don't have to say that's funny, and it's not. And like then to carry on with his jokes that didn't land, he made a joke about Taylor Swift that people, I mean, to be fair, I think some people are more up in arms about the Taylor Swift joke than they are about the Barbie joke. And I don't think that's very fair because I think the Barbie one was like pretty outwardly problematic, you know?
Yeah.
And then he said about Taylor Swift, he said the big difference between the Golden Globes and the NFL, at the Golden Globes, we have fewer camera shots of Taylor Swift, I swear. And then he immediately was like, sorry about that. Like looked very uncomfortable, but said it anyways. And honestly, the joke, lame, because I watched the Chiefs game last weekend and literally maybe saw Taylor Swift 2 or 3 times. Like no more than you would see a normal wife, mom, girlfriend, anybody. Like,
sure.
I don't know if we've even talked about this on the show, but I used to, my college like cheered for the Green Bay Packers. So I cheered for the Packers for a year. And then I went on to like assistant coach the team for a long time, like 5 years or something. And throughout that time, like whenever there's a celebrity there, they're shown a ton. You know, they're shown a bunch on like the big Jumbotron. Everybody freaks out. Like there was a game where Will Ferrell and Lil Wayne were both there.
Whoa.
And they were, it was, I mean, both Packer fans, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, it was crazy. And so they were shown on the screen like constantly. And people were like, oh my God, like freaking out, right? And like, that's the same thing. You know, it's already, they pan to like, oh, this is like Aaron Rodgers' mom. This is his new girlfriend. This is whoever. You know, they already did that when he was on the team. Like, people just do that. So it's not unusual for her to be shown, first of all. Second of all, it's not that much. So he has gone and said like, oh, well, I was actually more of a jab at the NFL than it was at Taylor Swift. And whatever, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the fact that the jokes went intentionally for like the top artist of the year and the top like female movie of the year feels intentional to me, you know?
I mean, yeah, I agree. And it's kind of, it is one of those things where it's like, you know, just say that you like don't like us and like move on. Just say it. Like
just move on. We
like
get
just
it.
Yeah, just say it. Like it's like, okay, whoa, like, oh, a joke about Taylor Swift being on the screen. I don't watch football games. But like, okay, like it's an organization. It's a company. Like they have
like
to
they're making money.
Peak interest. Like,
Yep.
Of course she's gonna be on the screen. Like, of course, like everybody chill. And I mean, and like whatever. Isn't her boyfriend still doing good? Like whatever. He's still playing well.
Fine.
Everything's fine. Like just chill. If you have to see her for 2 seconds, then whatever. She's still playing great. So who cares? But it's like it's just kind of a little played out. It's like when people stop making jokes about Taylor Swift writing songs about everyone she dates. Like it's kind of like, okay, like all right,
we get it,
you know. And it's like a joke about a woman only being like a bodily commodity. Like, okay, wow, that was the whole point of this movie, that had people bringing their moms and crying about like their lost girlhood and like, you know, and like,
and like you're missing all the points.
You're missing, and like America Ferrera gave a whole like monologue at the end of the movie about how women like are literally only commodified, and so it's just like the lack of effort for people. It seems to even look into the reasons why women are making things, or you know, and to just cast so much blame on them is just like lame. It's lame.
I know. It's really lame. It's giving just like no human dignity, you know?
Yeah, it's lame.
It's exhausting. And like one of the big pushbacks that we have been talking about is that some people are like, oh, Taylor was being really overdramatic by not just laughing along with the joke. Like it was just a joke. And she like literally didn't react. Like she picked up her drink, straight face, took a sip. Some people are like, oh, she was like glaring at him with like, you know, her like, if they say looks can kill and I might try, they were like, she was doing that. Like she was trying to whatever. To me, I'm like, she was just taking a sip of her drink and she was not reacting. But some people are like, oh, what an overreaction. Like she should have just laughed along. Gosh. She made it like this big thing. It didn't need to be. And I was like, to be a woman is like not reacting is an overreaction.
To be
like,
a woman is to perform. And it's really like crazy because it makes me think of those things that you see where it's like, a male boss assertive, a female boss bossy. It's like there's this
like we haven't evolved.
We haven't evolved. There's this language and there's this perception where like I could sit in complete silence. You know what? I could sit in complete silence at a director's meeting, which I have been to as an only female director, and I'm sitting and I'm listening to my boss like tell us something and give us instructions for whatever. And then afterwards, I will have one of my colleagues come up to me and be like, hey, is everything okay? Like,
are you in a bad mood?
And I'm like,
I'm just existing. I'm just trying to live.
So yeah, so it is really like it's interesting, you know. It's very interesting. And God bless Taylor because she really was just existing.
She really just took a sip of her drink.
Yeah,
and people are freaking out. And then like when we think about, like we had just talked about, like the Chris Rock Will Smith situation, like a lot of people were like, Will Smith probably should have slapped Chris Rock. That wasn't really the vibe. Sure. But there were people defending him that were like, well, like he said something negative about his wife, and so he should have gone and defended her. And like, you know, there's something to be said about like men defending their wives, people defending their significant other, etc. But like that by some people was not seen as an overreaction. But Taylor not doing anything and not just laughing along with the joke is seen by some people as an overreaction. And that is wild.
Dude,
isn't that wild?
It is wild. And it's so, excuse my language, it's so dumb, dude. It's so dumb. Like,
it's wild.
It's so wild. And it's like, why are we even, like, like Taylor Swift. I mean, I know when we talked about Will Smith and Chris Rock, we talked about, what is the phrase where it's like your something stops where my body starts? Like, I don't know. I forget. Yeah, like I forget what it is, but it's like obviously, well, like the right to touch people, that's like completely out of the realm
like
of
done. Yeah,
that's over with. And so, but but it is crazy how people are turning up for Taylor Swift just drinking a drink. And it's like, and then like her talking to Selena Gomez, and they're like, "Oh, this is so high school." Like she was probably gossiping. Like they were gossiping.
I'm
high
so
school.
sorry, but
blah,
if you and I are in a room and I got something to tell you, I'm coming to tell you.
I'm walking over to your table. I'm
coming over. I'm whispering in your ear.
Yeah,
I'm telling you exactly what
I'm
you
reaching
need to hear.
across your husband to tell you. And so it's like and so it's crazy to me that like she can't just exist. And then like Will Smith assaulted another person, and
some people defended him,
and the headlines are like, oh, like Tyler Perry comforts Will Smith as like they completely understand, like he was just really upset because someone made a joke, and it's like
feels like it's all a joke, like we're living in a simulation. It really does. And you know what? I mean, the theme of the day is dignity.
Yeah.
The theme of the day is like just treating people with respect. And I understand that people are like, they always make jokes at award shows. Yes, they do.
For sure.
But there are certain things that maybe we shouldn't just joke about. Like the Taylor Swift NFL thing, whatever. You know, like it was unnecessary.
It's like old. It's
but it was whatever. It's like old news, and she didn't care. It didn't seem like. Nobody cared.
It doesn't
Nobody
matter.
laughed really in the room, but like nobody cared.
Yeah.
But like the Barbie thing, maybe too far. Like I just think we need to make sure that our jokes aren't like setting back an entire message of a movie or like someone's mission. You know, maybe we just need to reflect a little bit.
And you know, I agree. I think that and speaking of dignity, our next story, I think, is just like the epitome of the lack of it. So, okay, there's this new thing called the shut up ring, which is a ring that a man gives a woman to just hurry up and get married and get her to stop asking. There's an epidemic of men embarrassing their new wives online, with there being an example that's gone viral of these people getting married. His wife, gorgeous, beautiful. It's her wedding day. And she does her vows. They're touching. She's crying. It's beautiful. And then the officiant is like, okay, Corey, I think is his name. It's like, okay, Corey, it's time for your vows. And then
oh no, not during the vows.
Dude, he literally
says it during the vows.
No, there was one. Wait, let me see. So he literally just says like, oh gosh, what does he even say? Shoot, I should have had this word for word up. But essentially, he just says something really brief, like, I just want to make sure that you like keep me fed and we still like each other in like a couple weeks. And people are like, and then you hear people from the congregation, and they're like, oh, come on, man. And he's like laughing. And then the officiant's like, okay, is that it? And he's like, that's all I got. And people are just like, what is going on? What is happening?
What?
Like, it's such low hanging fruit. Let me pull up this word. I wish we could, I think we can play it. But it's like, it's such low hanging fruit to be
That's
like,
so bad.
You didn't even think of, okay, let me see. I'm pulling it up, y'all, because you guys have to hear it. It is like the worst. It's the worst. And this is just one of the worst. I have other exemplars. So here we go. Okay.
Here are some things.
Oh, not this.
To always be true to you, to support you, to frustrate you, and challenge you, to hold you accountable, and to share with you the most beautiful moments of my life.
Cody? I promise to smack that ass every chance I get. That's all I got.
In the wedding ceremony?
All right, well, after that touching exchange, I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's for me to do my part. So, by the power vested in me by the state...
That's
so
it.
Then they're married. So then did he eventually admit that he just gave her the ring to like get her to shut up?
No, but it's the trend of
it's
like...
It's the same vibe, yeah.
It's the same vibe of like men are just like, you know what? Like, I just want to like smack that ass. Or like, as long as you keep me fed. And then women are like, oh, like on your wedding day, your husband is embarrassing you like that. So, and there's videos of like doing the cake cutting and, like certain couples in general will talk about like, okay, do we want to feed each other? Do we want to like do a silly thing where you smash it? Most people are like, no, don't smash me. I spent so much money on this makeup. I don't want to do that.
Yep.
But then there's whole videos of men taking like a woman playfully putting cake on his cheek and him being so like enraged. He takes the whole cake and like plows it in her face. And it's like, oh my gosh, like if you didn't want to marry her, just say that. Like
say that.
It's crazy. So that is one of the most viral examples. So
that's so wild. I do think it's wild. Like so many people rush into getting married super quick. And I think like as ladies, we need to consider like, okay, if I am putting all this pressure on him and he seems reserved about it, why? Why might he seem reserved about it? If he's reserved about it, is it that he's not that into you, doesn't want to marry you? Is it that he's not ready? And like maybe we should hold off because maybe he's not the one if he doesn't seem ready and you've been together for however long. Like maybe you guys need to like go to couples therapy. Maybe we need to think about that. And then guys, we shouldn't be making a lifelong decision if we're not ready to make it, you know? Oof. And I just think everybody needs to pump the brakes. Everybody needs to have more open communication because this is clearly a problem. And I've known people that have had their relationships fail because of this, because of like rushing into it and feeling like, well, I thought you were going to like leave me if I didn't propose. So then I proposed. And it's like, that's not the point. Like, do you love me and want to marry me or do you not? And then that's it, you know?
Period. Yeah, period. I think it's good. Let's do a mental health check, you guys. Like before we marry someone, here at Anti-Depressing, we promote healthy relationships and we love that. Oh my gosh.
The bubble. Actually, you know what I should put in our Instagram story, or maybe we can link it in here. Yeah. There's this woman who does like premarital or pre-engagement counseling for Catholic couples. I saw it recently. One of our friends shared about it. And it's like affiliated with like theology of the body stuff. And maybe like think about that. Maybe just think about talking to somebody. You don't have to be engaged to go to couples therapy. You can do that beforehand. So maybe just think about it before you head over heels launch into something with someone who doesn't really want to,
Just some ideas, you guys. And if you're dating someone and you're like, I think I just want them to be quiet and stop asking me about getting married, you might be wanting to give her a shut up ring. And in that case, you guys might just need to break up.
Maybe don't. Because maybe you should just give her never a ring.
Maybe a never a ring. Let her find someone that actually loves her and values her. How about that?
Maybe that one.
So you guys... This set of stories has been specifically very uplifting for me as a woman, very validating because I feel that
we all have worth.
I feel like we all have worth and value as a people. And there's just been a lot of low hanging fruit lately. It's kind of like, we need to be more creative. Men, you can do better. You can be more creative. Access the part of your mind that's creative. And and women, like, love yourselves, And it's okay if you just sit at a table and drink some water and don't laugh at a bad joke. And it's also okay if I would have been a runaway bride. Someone said, I just got to smack that ass every day. And that's their whole vow.
It's okay if you communicate that you're not
I would have walked away. That's
and that you're not going to
proceed. That's
get married to somebody who's not being kind to you,
So you have permission from the both of us. We love you guys so much.
We love you. The world is depressing.
But we are not. Talk to you guys soon.